So what's good, YouTube? Welcome to the channel, your girl Natasha Nisha. So on this one, I'll be unpacking, what happens when the righteous life is not prim and proper. So many times we expect a righteous life. If you're living a righteous life, expect it to be calm, serene, boring even. But what do you do when that's not the case? When you're living a righteous life, but instead there's no friends or few friends and loads of enemies. And it actually looks kind of rough and tough. So that's what I'll be unpacking in this one. So please stay till the end. So yeah, basically, in life, firstly, it's important to know that like life is a battle and we have an enemy. And if you don't know this, unfortunately, you going through life asleep, and as a result, you're gonna lose the battle for your life, for your soul. So that's the first point. In life, we have an enemy, and then us as righteous people, we are not doormats. We are warriors. We are warriors for Christ and in his army, and we call to take a stand. We need to take a stand, and that is going to bring in opposition, because it's going to be one side versus the other side, basically. So so we know scripture tells us that like many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of them all. So, like, that just speaks to my heart every time I open that scripture. It's like saying that in a righteous life, there will be afflictions, and not only that, they will be many. And sometimes it can look, if you're looking out here, you can actually see the wicked people prospering. Like shout out Peter. Yeah, you can see the wicked people prospering, and you know um this can even have some people use this to judge. They will see this as proof that possibly you're not so righteous as you say. There is a hidden sin in your life. And it's just to remember also that the righteousness we have is not our own righteousness. It's the righteousness that Christ gives us. It's his righteousness that we have. So there's that also. And then also we know, like from many stories in the scripture, in the Bible, we can tell that that's not the case. Your life may be going hectic, but you could still be a righteous person. As in the story of Job, we know that Job was as upright as they came, a righteous man. And yeah, and God allowed the test in his life. In Job's case, it was a test whereby he was really put through it all and he lost everything. Yet he was a righteous man. But if you looked at his life, you wouldn't believe it. As we know in the story, some of his friends responded that way. And then also we see in the story of Jacob, you know, Jacob, who was the dreamer, his brothers were jealous of him. And as a result, he was sold into slavery. So we know that he was an upright person. Through his life it showed, but also this was the route for Jacob to destiny. So it was God's way of preparing him, and then also he used this, it's a preparation for Jacob, but then also for provision later for his family. So you know that's some of the ways of God's working. He works in the lives of those he chooses, and he works in mysterious ways. It's not always as it seems when God's hand is on a life. So yeah, so I just want to say that, like, to those looking at the life of a child of God, be slow to judge, be slow to mock or ridicule their current situation. And then, secondly, to those who are being prepared, and who are waiting still on the promise being fulfilled in your life. Just remember and take be encouraged by this one, to know that God is not a man that he should lie, He is the only one, or very few, who is willing and able. Many times, shout out Myron Golden, many times people are willing, they want to help you, but they don't have the means. So that makes them willing but not able. Then sometimes people that are able to help you are not willing to help you. They don't want to, yet they have the means to help you, but they don't want to, so that makes them able but not willing. And then God alone is like somebody who is willing and able. And then we will find very few people also who are willing and able in our lives here. But then God alone is faithful. We can depend and trust on His word. He'll bring it to fulfillment, and yeah. And then also just to know that He can do it in the blink of an eye. So stay ever expectant on His promises coming to fruition in your life. Stay hopeful, full of hope, expecting His goodness and His favor, because that's His nature, that's who He is. And Proverbs 34:21 goes on to say, will slay afflictions will slay the wicked, and those who hate the righteous will be condemned. So there also again it tells us that the righteous are and will be hated in this world. From old already we know this was the case, even with Christ Himself. But either ways, choose to be righteous anyway. And finally, to those who are to the perpetrators, just beware that you do not fall into the same pit that you digging for the righteous person, and you will fall so to your destruction. And that we can find some of that in Psalms 35:8. So Scripture also tells us that the Lord is the salvation of His people. So we know it's Him that saves His people. He is their salvation. He is their helper. He is our helper. He is our deliverer. He is our redeemer. He pays our price and buys us back, that we're free now. So and yeah, I'm speaking again still here to the perpetrators, like stop repaying evil for good. Because many times we find that these so-called perpetrators are those that we were once good to. We treated and looked on as a friend or a brother, and yet it's them who rejoice at your stumbling. It's them who gather together against you to mock and jeer and ridicule, hating without a cause, hating the righteous person without a cause. So, these are some of the treatments of a righteous person in this world today. And it's important to know also that, like, Scripture tells us the Lord delights in the welfare of His saints. So this this ill treatment of a righteous person doesn't please God, and He will make it right. We know that He loves justice, and yeah, He will not forsake His saints. So if this one blessed you in any way, I will encourage you to do some reading, like the Psalms that blessed me so, like Psalms 35, Psalms 36, Psalms 37. And maybe if I can just do a very quick reading. Psalms 37:10 I have here to read. Okay, fine. So there it says, in just a little while, the wicked will be no more. Though you look carefully at his place, he will not be there. And 12 again, the wicked plots against the righteous and gnashes his teeth at him. But the Lord laughs at the wicked, for He sees that his day is coming. And then the wicked draw the sword and bend their bows to bring down the poor and needy, to slay those whose way is upright, and their sword shall enter their own hearts, and their bows shall be broken. So we see here, and even in Psalms 38 also, it tells of the treatment that the righteous person gets from the wicked person. And this is the way of the wicked person. They're wicked. Many times they don't need to be provoked even to, you know, um, feed you evil, to plot against you. So you don't even need to provoke the wicked person, and so I hope this one blessed you and encouraged you also, if you are a righteous person, but your life is so not looking prim and proper, It's actually looking rough, tough, and it actually looks useless a lot of the time. And it's like people ask you like, why? Why would you choose that life, Um, but it's just important to know that God sees all and He is faithful and He will make it right. So peace out for this one. You're on the session, Nisha, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.